go outside your comfort zone, blah, 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 blah. These are all concepts. You need to think, what are you actually gonna do? So today I'm going to be talking you through some journal prompts that I have for us to think about and answer ourselves as we are in the beginning of 2024. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have done your vision boards and stuff like that for the new year, which is amazing. But this is going to be a little bit more structured, a little bit more strategic. It's going to get us just thinking about the right sort of things so that we can make relevant action plans moving forward. I'm going to go through the questions that I've got and just kind of talk you through the kind of things you should be thinking about when it comes to each question, and just kind of give you a little bit of guidance and help when it comes to answering these. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Right? Subscribe! I love you guys. Okay, number one. Let's kick it off with something generic, kind of broad, which is, what do you want to do or achieve by the end of this year? So this just helps getting us thinking about overall what our realistic plans are. Vision boards are great and everything, but they often look at things that are a little bit more aspirational, dreams, which is incredible and still a must, but it's just very different. Kind of think of this question as like your 2024 bucket list. So for example, it could be something as small as, I want to create a more efficient daily routine and stick to it. It could be something a little bit bigger, like I'm finally going to do that home renovation that I've been telling myself I'm going to do. It could be something like, I'm going to read one book per month over the course of this year. It can literally be anything, so really give this some thought. Now next to it, I want you to write how you are going to do that. Strategize. Think about what you need to put in place, what motions need to be put in place for you to be able to do that thing. For some points you may not need to really write anything, it might be quite self-explanatory, but for others you may need to put some action in place. So strategize what that is so that you can achieve that thing on your list. I'll give you an example of one of mine. So one of mine is to wake up at the sound of my alarm every day and not snooze it. If you watch my videos, you know this is a struggle I've been working on for a while. Now next to it, for my strategizing, I wrote a couple things, but one of the things I wrote was, I am going to make sure I take my vitamins every day, because that is something that I slack on, and I know that that is often the reason why I struggle to wake up, because I have low energy, I have fatigue, and I'm not helping myself. So you need to do everything you can in your power to be able to perform in the way that you want to, so you can show up for yourself. So for me to be able to wake up at the sound of my alarm and not feel like, oh my god, I'm so tired, I need more sleep, is to be on my health grind. If I'm eating good foods, if I'm having my vitamins, my supplements, then I should be well enough to have my 8 hours of sleep and not feel like I need to stay in longer. Really take your time with this question, because this is a long one, and your list could be so long, so really dedicate some time to this one. Number two, what changes do you want to make to your daily routine? So you can start by identifying the kind of unhelpful, negative habits that you already have, that you don't like, that you want to cut out, that you know don't serve you. Then you can flip it. Some habits you can just reverse on its head, and then you can create a positive habit that you want to start implementing in its place. You're learning how to reverse that behavior, but you're making it tangible. It's something that you can actually do. So instead of just saying, oh, I want to be less lazy, what does that look like? What does that mean? In your mind, what does that look like? Is it working out 3-4 times a week? Is it being more active, not planning so much, so you don't say you're going to do stuff, you act on it? Another example, if you feel like you spend too much money, reverse that. What is your positive habit going to be, which is daily? It could be to do meal prep. If when you go to the office you always end up buying lunch out because you are not organised enough and you did not prepare food to kind of bring into the office, so you're spending money that you don't really need to and don't necessarily even want to. So if that negative habit is excessive spending due to laziness or just not being organised enough, then think about an actual habit which is going to help you target that behaviour. Like meal prepping. Number 3, what new things do you want to try this year? Start thinking about how you're going to get out of your comfort zone. We all know that growth happens outside of the comfort zone. And it's very easy to say, yeah, try new things, like go outside your comfort zone, blah, 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 blah. These are all concepts. You need to think, what are you actually going to do to push yourself outside of that comfort zone and try new things? What new things do you want to try? Maybe it's to do like a solo traveling trip. Maybe it's to take a cooking class. Maybe it's to start up martial arts. And these don't even need to be things that you're going to continue going with. You just need to try it. You want to put yourself in a position where you try something for the first time that maybe makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Do it once and you've got yourself a power move. Who knows, you might learn something about yourself. You might discover a love or an interest that you didn't know was there. It might make you feel incredible. You might meet some new people if it's something that involves other people and is a little bit social. You could get a new skill under your belt. It's so easy to fall into our normal routines and not do those extra things unless we force ourselves to. So this is to get us thinking about what we're going to do so we can force ourselves to do that. Number 4, what areas of yourself do you want to work on this year? I did this one on New Year's Eve and it was very beneficial. It was not easy, but a lot of good came from it. So you need to brainstorm all of the toxic or just negative behaviours that you know you have that you want to work on. For example, indecisiveness or overthinking or people pleasing or whatever. Be deeply honest with yourself and really give yourself time to dig deep and think about what they are. There'll be certain things that will come to you a little bit easier. It's kind of fresher in your mind, a little bit more obvious to yourself. But there will be other ones. This is so helpful because it will force you to be self-aware firstly, and also the next thing you're going to do is start thinking about how you're going to work on those things. Identifying the problem and then you're coming up with an action plan. You're going straight from step 1 to step 2. So then once you've got your list, you're going to brainstorm how you're going to work on each of those traits that you've written down. One of the things on my list was indecisiveness. I have struggled with this for literally my whole life. So I told myself that this year I'm going to overcome it and I'm going to take a different approach to it this time. I'm going to force myself to make decisions. Now in the past I've told myself that before. I'm going to force myself. But there was no strategy that was going to help me to do that. Because in those moments, I wouldn't make a decision, I'd just fold. So when it comes to everyday kind of mundane decisions that I would really struggle to make, ones that, you know, don't carry so much weight, but things that still resemble indecisiveness and things that I would struggle with, my new technique is I'm going to give myself 10 seconds to make a decision. Literally, I'm going to give myself a countdown. If I'm in a shop and I can't decide what crisps I want to buy, if I just cannot decide and I get overwhelmed by that decision, because that happens to me, I'm going to give myself a countdown of 10, and by the end of that countdown I have to have made a decision. Even if in that moment it's the decision that I'm not going to be happy with in the future, it doesn't matter, because the point is it is a win because I made a decision. A decision is better than no decision. Another example, if something on your list is overthinking, you could tell yourself, I'm going to start every day with some morning meditation as an act of like cleansing my mind before my day starts, so I'm already in a better state to handle any potential triggers that could come to me that could make me overthink. Number 5, I know we're already a little bit into January, but still this is worth doing. What is January's primary focus? So decide how you'll start. So far we've made a lot of lists of things that we want to improve, things we want to change, things we want to do, and how we're going to do those things and achieve those things. You can't do them all simultaneously. You can't go full steam ahead with all of them at once. So the next step is kind of dissecting it and making it into smaller chunks that you can, you know, take one at a time. So think about a main goal or action that you want to prioritize this month and put all of your energy towards that. If there are a lot of changes that you want to implement into your life, your routine, whatever, you can't do them all at once because it's not sustainable. You have to make changes one by one. You kind of have to like drip feed them to yourself. Otherwise you could go all guns blazing, but you're not gonna actually retain those changes and It could be the end of the year and you're going to be like, damn, I am right back where I started. And it's because you tried too much new stuff too quick. You also don't want to get overwhelmed by the long list of changes and goals and stuff that you've made for yourself, because then it can be like, oh my god, this is so much, I don't know what to do, and you go into shutdown mode. So to try and avoid that from happening, make it more manageable. Think, what am I going to focus on for January? And do not even think about Feb, don't think about March, don't think beyond that. Just look at January. Number 6, what are you most looking forward to this year? And if you don't know yet, that's also totally fine, but this is an exciting one because you can start thinking about what you want to put in place now so that you will have something to look forward to. Number 7, what is something that you've been putting off but want to do this year? It could be like a new hobby that you know you want to make time for, but you haven't prioritized it and you just haven't really made that time for it. But you've been telling yourself you want to do it for the last 3 years. It could be something a little bit more general, like dating. Like, you want to start dating this year. Or just a really time-consuming admin task. It doesn't have to be something glamorous. It's anything that's going to improve your life, or just anything on that list that you've been putting off because it's a sizable task. So what thing from that list are you going to tackle this year? Number 8, what do you plan to do for your mental health this year? Make a list. The things on this list do not need to be new things. They can be things you're already doing, but just making that list will make you see what things you are doing for your mental health. And by the size of that list, you can determine whether you're doing enough, or maybe you should be doing a little bit more for yourself. It will also remind you that these are high value activities that you need to be prioritizing throughout your year. You could be looking at them and thinking, yeah, I do them. But if you look at them and all of them are things that you actually haven't really done consistently recently, you've just not really prioritized it. The fact that this list is things that you do for your mental health should make you realize that they are all things you should be prioritizing. For example, one of the things on the list could be keeping one evening free per week with no chores or anything that you just reserve for yourself to do whatever you want to do. It could be to journal every week, to take regular breaks throughout your working day, to make sure that every now and then you allow for a few days out of your usual routine so you can have some form of a holiday or break. Just some kind of setup which is different from your usual routine where you can recharge. Number 9 is, what fear do you want to face this year? For example, like fear of embarrassment in public, or literally anything. It can be as small or as big in your mind. But the point is, you're acknowledging something that makes you uncomfortable, that kind of provokes some kind of fear in you. You're actively taking charge. It could be something that you regard as like a small fear, a big fear, whatever, just anything that you kind of avoid because it makes you feel uncomfortable or anything like that, which you know is a good thing that you should be trying to overcome. So for example, I have a friend that wants to target her fear of public speaking this year. So she's kind of planning ahead for a series of tasks or situations that she's going to put herself in, which will bring her some discomfort, but ultimately it's like a step-by-step plan to get her past each hurdle so that she can tackle that fear. And if we're serious about being better year to year, these are the kind of things we need to be doing. And finally, number 10, what is your biggest dream for 2024? It can be anything, just make it aspirational. We've looked a lot today at quite realistic goals and targets and things, so let's not forget the aspirational dream side of things, because that is just as important. It could be a place you want to travel to, it could be like a career advancement, an amount in your bank account. Literally, there are literally no restrictions when it comes to this. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you gained something from it. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay smiling, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye guys.